In case you're wondering, we bleep the Reverend's use of the N-word. It looks like I have more restraint and respect than he does. This video now is over a month old. Why is it this hasn't been on the NBC Nightly News? Why is it a lot of people in the audience are seeing it for the first time tonight? Does that sound like a guy you want to have access to the President of the United States? This is the guy that gave Obama the title of his book. Where's the national outrage? Where are the people of all races, creeds, political parties? Can I really be the only guy who's offended by this? Obama's campaign released a statement to abcnews.com. Listen to this quote. Senator Obama has said repeatedly that personal attacks such as this have no place in this campaign or our politics, whether they're offered from a platform or a rally or pulpit at a church. Senator Obama does not think the pastor of his church in political terms. He's like a family member, and there are things that he says which Senator Obama deeply disagrees. Senator Obama, I am sorry, I don't buy that bullcrap. I'm afraid that disagreeing with this, with disagreeing with Reverend Wright's statements on Louis Farrakhan, just not good enough. So tonight, America, here's what you need to know. Senator Obama, if you wanted to denounce the Reverend's hate speech, you wanted to do that, you shouldn't have done it today. You should have done it 20 years ago. You sat in this man's pew for 2 decades. A man who praised Louis Farrakhan, and I'm sorry, but I believe it's too late to separate yourself from him now. You can't have it both ways. After all, you're running for president. John Fund is the editorial writer for the Wall Street Journal, and Earl O'Farry Hutchinson is a nationally syndicated columnist and author of The Ethnic Presidency, How Race Does Decide the Race to the White House. John, let me start by you. Are you disturbed by the things that Reverend Wright said?
I'm just really glad the Reverend Wright is apparently going to be retiring this June. Sounds like it should have happened a long time ago.
Okay, see, now I think you are avoiding this question.
No, it's obvious that Mitt Romney was asked, how in the world can you run for president without giving a major speech explaining your differences with the Mormon Church and fitting it into the context of how you would govern as president? It is time for Barack Obama. He has the right to sit in his Reverend's congregation for 20 years, but he should make a speech. He says he disagrees with him. Let's have specifics. How in the world does he disagree with what I consider hate speech?
Okay, let me ask you this, Earl. How long would you be sitting in a pew of this? I mean, if his sermons, I'd like to see all the video of his sermons or read his sermons, if his sermons are anything like this for the last 20 years, how long would you sit in that pew before you said, you know what, this is not filling me with the spirit of peace and goodness and bringing everybody together? How long would you sit there?
Well, you know, I would even say something else, Glenn. First of all, I wouldn't sit there at all. So it's not even a question of how long would I be there. I'd find another church, and I would be in another church. But I would even take it a step further. I think there is a double standard here. I think there is a case of trying to have it both ways. You asked the question, a very direct question. Are you offended by it? Yes, I am offended by it. I make no pretense about that, and I will say that directly. Now, the next question is, if in fact the Reverend Wright, and he has a right to his own views, but if he is a spiritual mentor of Barack Obama, he is a pastor of Barack Obama, the church that he's belonged to for many, many years, and if he has those views, it would seem incumbent upon Barack Obama to make a very forthright, a very vigorous statement, and keep repeating those statements. He doesn't speak for me, and also I would even say one other thing, Glenn, too. I'd find another church.
I would have found another church long ago. Let me tell you something. I sat with one of the media giants in New York City, one of the big anchors in New York City, and I was told, oh my gosh, back in the 1970s, the priesthood wasn't given by Mitt Romney's church to African Americans. I mean, that's crazy talk. Listen to the racism there, blah, blah, blah. Yet I'm wondering if anyone on those major networks are going to work half as hard to try to say this stuff is being said today.
That's why I say I do believe there's a very, very decided double standard. You know as well as I do that you know, they pounded Mitt Romney over and over again about the Mormon religion, about what happened 150 years ago. He had to apologize and do a mea culpa every step of the way and distance himself essentially from much of the philosophy of the church. But at the same time, there is a different standard with Mr. Obama. I don't hear routinely pounded on, look, you belong to this church, that's right. You know, I mean, if that's your views, say so. If it's not, then say so, and if it's not, you shouldn't be in the church.
That's right.
And continually bringing up over and over again, is this the kind of philosophy, is this the kind of even ministry that you would want to be associated with, especially since you have made it clear over and over again, I am running a broad-based campaign. There are no racial appeals or overtones whatsoever in my campaign.
John, there was an editorial in the New York Times because Geraldine Ferrara was booted yesterday. And basically, look, I have to tell you, what she said was, Barack Obama, I'm paraphrasing here, Barack Obama wouldn't really be in the position that he's in if it wasn't that he was black. I have to tell you something, at some level, I agree with her. I think, and if I may quote the New York Times editorial by a liberal columnist, just this last Sunday when they were talking about Obama and bigots, the ugliest prejudices in this campaign season are not directly about race. Barack Obama's skin color may cost him some working-class white voters, but it's also winning some votes among blacks and among whites eager to signal their open-mindedness. Isn't that really what Geraldine Ferrara was saying? She was saying that there's a phenomena going on, and part of it has to do with his skin color.
Absolutely. I have Republican friends who are taken up by Barack Obama. They're thrilled with his soaring rhetoric. But Geraldine Ferrara obviously could have articulated that much less clumsily. However, for people in Obama's camp to leap on her, basically accuse her of racism, say that she's following the vocabulary of David Duke, and to say that this is the end of civil discourse in America is just ridiculous. We cannot have political correctness completely smother all discussion of what is blindingly obvious. You know, what is it someone once said? A political gaffe is when someone inadvertently tells the truth? Yeah. Well, Geraldine Ferrara was telling at least half the truth.
Okay, thank you guys. I appreciate it.